Hello and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. My name is Bonnie Schnautz. I'm a traditional naturopath and digestive health specialist and the founder of Be Renewed Wellness Solutions. And today we have the honor of speaking with my very special guest, Kellie Collins. Kellie is a certified divorce mortgage planner with the Kellie Collins Group in the Charleston, South Carolina area. And today we're going to be talking about facing post-divorce finances without fear. And Kellie is a single mom for two preteen boys who love soccer and football and their puppy Mary. After going through a divorce herself, she really wasn't planning on. She grew to be a stronger, healthier, happier, more successful version of herself. Now, Kellie's focus is her business is helping divorced women gain financial stability through and post-divorce through acting as a guide for women in all the areas of finance, from basic budgeting, savings, and creating wealth through real estate. So, Kellie, thank you so much for being here. And this, I know, is such a gift to so many women. And it's finances are overwhelming, right? They're for most, most people and
100%.
especially most women. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. Most people are actually scared of finances, and it's a taboo topic growing
Mhm.
up. So nobody actually learned to ever talk about it.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the top three causes of divorce, right? Are infidelity, finances, and communication, or I would say lack of, right? So
Uh-huh.
this is something as women we all need to be very well aware of, and we need to be prepared for the worst because Kellie not only works with women going through divorce, it could be that you lost your spouse or your loved one that where you're responsible or have access to or need access to their finances. So, what is curious? What is kind of the average age of women? This is something we didn't really talk about, but I'm just curious myself as it applies to, women going through a divorce. What does that age range look like?
So I have worked with people in their 20s.
Oh.
I have worked with people in their, like, maybe the average is 40-ish type thing.
Mm.
Um, but we're actually seeing a big increase in people over the age of 60 going through a divorce. And because divorce is taboo, finances are taboo, sometimes even feelings are taboo to talk about.
Mhm.
Um, the 60-year-olds still have no clue how finances work. And women of all ages, if you don't understand finances and be your own advocate, fear, I mean, getting a divorce can be scary. And some
Oh.
people stay in dangerous situations because of it.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I think, like you said, there's not really, it doesn't sound like there's any age, right? That's,
No.
there's a little bit like you're seeing that spike at 60, and that's terrifying. I mean, to be honest, because I think at that point, me being in my early 60s, that's, you get comfortable, right? And you're just going through the motions and you're thinking everything's okay. You don't have to worry about it and you're getting comfortable, and that in itself can be a little bit dangerous, right? So I know in your title you're a certified divorce mortgage planner, and I know there's mortgage lenders out there. So what really makes you special or unique in serving these women versus a traditional mortgage lender? Can't they do the same thing?
No, actually, I am a lender as well, and I can do that. But divorce mortgage planning is so different. So I actually got a certification in this. I have taken classes on negotiations, dealing with different personality types. Um, and just really making a plan. So, my job in the divorce mortgage planning space is not to sell you a mortgage, it's to help take that fear away if you are thinking about a divorce or if you're going to go through a divorce, my job is to help you put a plan together, to help you negotiate through the mediation process, the divorce process, support your attorneys, support you so that we can make a plan for home ownership post-divorce. And
Hmm.
I've got specialized planning in that. My job is not to sell you a mortgage as a divorce mortgage planner, which in traditional lending, you don't get paid unless you sell a mortgage. And so if things might not be in our client's best interest, if that was the case when I'm trying to help somebody. So,
Okay. Yeah. So that is such a key differential, right? It's huge, right? You're not just trying to, you're not just trying to, sell them the mortgage. You're trying to support them and reduce the fear and give them the tools. And the beauty of what you offer, Kelly, is that you've been through it. And I tell my clients that, like, I've been in your shoes. I've had like pretty much all the health issues. Like once you've walked in their shoes, like, plus you have the professional experience to back you up. So you have the experience and the knowledge of what didn't work and what was scary that you want to alleviate for your client. So what a blessing. So I know I hear this, I'm sure you hear this all the time, in my case, I hear, oh, I have to ask my husband, he's in charge of finances, right? My husband always handles the finances, and I'm not sure where I even begin to start. So how do you support women with that?
okay, so this is something I actually hear a lot. And I was doing a consult the other night with one of my clients, and she said, well, my husband said not to worry about us getting a divorce. My budget will be okay. And I asked, well, what kind of budget do you have? Oh, I don't know. He just said it's going to be okay. And I said, okay. She couldn't tell me the numbers. I asked her to get them for me from him, and he won't give her the budget that he's basing this off of. And he's trying to get her to just not negotiate and sign it away so that they don't have to spend money on attorneys and separate representation. And I see that a lot, and that's a form of financial abuse. Um, so basically, how we start this process is if you are thinking about divorce, hold on, let me back this up. I am not for divorce at all. I really am not, but in some cases, it just needs to happen. In my case, it needed to happen. But when you are going through this scary thing, you don't know what's going to happen. You're emotionally drained, you're mentally drained, you're physically drained. There's lots of physical things that happen in your body too.
Mhm.
You don't know where to start thinking. And you've got friends who are trying to help, but they don't know where to start because they love you. They just want to go attack somebody and
Mhm.
whatever. So the first thing I recommend is educate yourself. We do this through a free consult. Typically, first step one is find out what your goals are. So, have you ever written down your personal goals? This can be what I want my life to look like in 6 months, what I want my life to look like in 1 year, and post-divorce, what I want my life to look like in 5 years. And based on those goals, I help you align what a budget looks like. I'll teach you how to budget if you don't know how. I'll help you figure that out, give you it does not have to be as scary as it's supposed to. It's just a plan. It's just a spending plan. And I'll educate you on not only the financing part, but do you have emergency funds? That takes the fear out of, can I own my own home? If you know that if something happens, you can pull money from somewhere else. So there's a lot going into it, but the first step is really to focus on your goals. And I told this woman her favorite place in the world was the beach, kind of like mine. And I said, you don't have your kids this Saturday. I want you to go sit on the beach with pen, paper, and write out your vision board. Write out your dreams, write out your goals. And she called me that day and said, Kelly, I feel so much better. And then we were able to go into financing. And she decided then she didn't want to keep the house. It was too hard. but we're making a plan for her to buy her next house based on what happens through this divorce.
Excellent. And Kelly, you're bringing up so many good points because, just like you, I'm dealing with women with massive amounts of stress. They have the physical stress through their health. They could be a caretaker, which is creating the mental, emotional stress. And we're undergoing either physical, mental, emotional stress. We don't make really good decisions. We can't because, like I said, you're drained, you're overwhelmed, and that's where you need that guide. We're not the hero. I say, we're the guide. We're just going to help you like you are. Like, what are your goals? And this is so models, exactly what I'm doing as well. Like, what are your goals? What do you want to be? Thinking through instead of just reacting to what's happening out of fear. And that's where I can imagine, is just that's such a relief for them to have you in their corner at a time when they so desperately need that help with something that could change the trajectory of their life. Whether, they say, I don't know the exact statistics, but so many women coming out of divorce suffer financially for years and years, and that should not have to happen. So, and speaking of going back to the home, I'm hoping this woman finds a home on the beach. So, I know you said like the women that do want to keep the home for the kids, but don't know if they can handle the payments. I assume that's where you come in for budgeting, right? And helping them.
Yeah, so what we do is we run scenarios. So if let's say you want to keep the home and you can assume a mortgage rate of a 2.75, because there's plenty of people right now that have that interest rate. And with that, you don't need a whole lot of income to cover that house payment. But if you agree to an equity buyout and you have to refinance the home or get a home equity line of credit to pay that, that can make your mortgage payment go up. So then we might need to negotiate, instead of an equity buyout, do we waive rights to retirement accounts? Let's say you're a stay-at-home mom, you haven't saved for retirement because you haven't been working outside of the house, but you have been working. You have contributed to the household in a way where your husband can actually work. And I mean, comes the same thing goes for men too that stay at home. But you contribute to the house. Don't let that be taken lightly. A lot of times going through a divorce, women will feel like, I stayed at home. I have nothing to contribute. I have no income coming in. I don't know how to find a job. One of my closest childhood friends had this same panic. She homeschooled her children since they were little. And she goes, they're gonna have to go to school. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And she had to find a job and she was panicking because her ex-husband was like, I'm not paying alimony. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. No, you don't get to dictate. You got to have a team in your corner. And with my divorce mortgage planning report, I can say, well, we can either assume the mortgage, keep this low interest rate, and that's a negotiation point. Or I have to have X amount so that a month in alimony and child support so that I can keep these kids in a comfortable place. Or do I take a lump sum buyout, see if I can get the house paid off, and then just have life to live? So I actually put it in different scenarios side by side. Let's look at it. Let's take it back to your attorney, see what's actually possible with those scenarios, and then we put the plan in place for how to negotiate.
Oh, excellent. That's got to give them, they have choices, right? Not just, somebody else on the other side dictating what, they think they deserve. So beautiful. And I think you kind of covered that. If they don't get, is there ever a situation where they're not awarded alimony?
There are plenty of situations. So, I mean, sometimes if you're married to somebody who's self-employed and we're working off tax returns and they've taken huge deductions and that line on the tax return says they make $25,000 a year,
Yeah.
even though you may make W-2 of $40,000. you could end up paying him alimony.
Wow.
So that's where we gotta strategize and really look at things a little bit differently.
Wow.
And so, yeah, there's plenty of cases where you might not get alimony, you might not get child support because of documentation and how things are written up.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's good to know. I wouldn't even thought of that scenario, but I get it. Being self-employed, I totally get that. Um,
Mhm.
so you said of course, you work with women going through divorce. You work with women who have lost a spouse. If there's someone that is maybe considering or, fears that that could be in their future, but they don't really want to be swayed. They just need some general information. Is that when your free consultation would come in? Tell me a little bit more about that and how women could get just some general information if they're just in the early phases or just kind of thinking about that could happen.
So, I mean, I always recommend before making any major life changes, getting some expert guidance. Sorry, I can't speak today. So we have a free consultation where I will sit down with you 30 minutes. Let's find out what your situation is. I will give you some free resources to help you research. Um, but the most important thing at that point when you're trying to decide, besides maybe a good counselor and a little bit of guidance from a divorce attorney as well, get that consult in, but learn about your finances. Know what's going in and out. Take the last several months of bank statements and see what your household income and outflow is. Write yourself a budget. Get prepared. I mean, just anybody, even if you're not going to go through a divorce, educate yourself on the household finances because you also never know if that husband that's going to be around all of a sudden isn't.
Mhm.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be to divorce. And I mean, I get calls from widows and I go and I sit down with these sweet women. I had one that was 72 the other day. She bought a house. They bought their dream house, age 72, 100% financing, VA loan. She loved it. She's so proud. They had Christmas in this house. And then her husband passed away. They didn't have life insurance in place. They didn't know, they didn't realize that his pension was going to go away. So now, where she was living off a pension, two social securities, she now is living off one social security that's not enough to cover the mortgage payment.
Oh,
And
goodness.
she is going to have to leave her dream house.
Mm.
So if you're just advocate for yourself the whole time. I mean, communicate. Don't be scared to talk finances. You want to hear somebody talk finances? I talk finances all day long. It's probably highly inappropriate with my friends, but I'm teaching people how to talk finances because it's important. It shouldn't be taboo. Ask questions, get information, and educate yourself from good sources. No TikTok, no Instagram education.
You. Thank you. Yes, I tell people that all day long. Yes, don't trust your health or your finances to some quasi-expert on TikTok and Instagram or anywhere else. So, and
No.
it's not personal. I mean, it's general information that unless you dig in, I know the same thing, unless I dig in, know their background, their history, there's just so much that can be uncovered that could change the whole scenario. So, what happened to your aunt or uncle or your neighbor is not, is not your scenario. So, okay, so where is there anything else you can think of that women need to know? And if not, like tell us how we can connect with you, what states you are licensed in to serve women.
So, I mean, just the biggest thing, if you're thinking about going through divorce, have your health in check, take care of yourself, work out. That'll save your life. Go
Mhm.
see somebody like Bonnie because you need that help.
Mhm.
Also, divorce is expensive. You
Mhm.
have to plan ahead. And anybody who tries to cut corners on divorce by like saying, well, we're not going to have representation, we're just going to write up the agreement. Every single time I see one of those agreements in the mortgage lending side, there's an issue.
Mhm.
Um, something's not covered. So get yourself an advocate. You invest in your future, you invest in your health, and unfortunately, invest in good guidance because when you're going through one of the biggest scenario situations in your entire life, it will save you thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, over your lifetime. And post-divorce, you're going to be okay.
Mhm.
You're going to be okay. It's going to be good. You can start over. Divorce, even though it's sad, it's horrible, you have to grieve it. There's light at the end.
Mhm.
And you can always grow out of it and just learn from it and become the person you were meant to be.
Right. 100% agree. I'm a woman of divorce who was divorced as well. So I can attest to that too, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And if you have all that weight bearing on you from that financial stress, it's going to impact your physical health. And for your children's sake, for your potential, maybe you have grandchildren at this point, you have to, this is what you have to do to take care of yourself is find someone to talk to and help you through the scare. One of the most scares, I think it was horrifying,
Mhm.
for me, it was just devastating. And, a lot of women end up with depression, clinical depression. And it's life-changing in more ways than one. But you can be stronger. You can have a support team on your side. So how do they connect with you? We'll add your information. Go ahead and share that with us. So there's a phone number, your website, and then we'll post all that information under the videos so they can see that and where you license that, Kelly.
All right. So my divorce page can be found at divorcelendingassociation.com/Kellie Collins, and that's Kelly with an IE. My phone number is 843-810-7219. I can be reached via text, phone, via there. Emails sometimes get lost, so phone information, more information from the website. I also have a newsletter that goes out once a month. If you just want some good information, visit the website, see the links below for my contact information. And if you have a question, I promise I'm not going to bite. Just call me and ask me the question. God's put me here and given me this talent and this care for this. Um, I am licensed to do mortgages in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia, but for my certified divorce planning, I can do that all over the nation. So no matter where you live, I can help you with that as well.
Excellent. That is wonderful. Um, So this has been a wealth of information, and such valuable information for women going through this. So again, no, please don't go through it alone. A lot of times even as women, I know men, we say men sometimes have really big egos, but sometimes we do too, and we don't want to ask for help. But if there's any time, you truly should ask for support and find someone like Kelly. I highly, highly encourage, again, having gone through it myself and not having the support that I needed. And it was terrifying. I'll just admit it was scary. So, and think about your goals. I love just to recap. What are your goals? Your 6 month, your 1 year, your 5 years. Be thinking about your future because that's what you want to focus on. You can't change what happened in the past, but you can change the outcome of your future. So, all right. Well, again, Kellie Collins with the Kellie Collins Group. And again, facing post-divorce finances without fear was our topic for today. Thank you so much, Kellie, for being a part of this and sharing your gifts from God that you can serve the women in these situations. So again, just thank you so much.
It is my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.